William Reginald Hodder was a British writer hailing from New Zealand. He was born in 1867 in Nelson, the son of Thomas Richards Hodder and Catherine Russell Cox. He died in London in 1926. Hodder wrote several books, two dealing with the British Army and two fantasies: The Daughter of the Dawn, a realistic story of Maori magic in 1903, and The Vampire in 1913. His 1916 Altus, The Man from the Dead, is apparently non-fantastic, despite being sometimes listed as such. In The Vampire, Dr. Athol Craddock is enjoying the friendship of Denshire, the strongman weightlifter/artist, and of the Kenyon sisters, especially that of Miss Beatrice Kenyon, the doctor lamenting her good health, meaning she will likely not be put under his care. His attention is brought by Denshire to a certain Mrs. Valtudor, who seems to be snaring the strongman hard, despite his sort of interest in Beatrice's sister Madge. Mrs. Valtudor seems to be in rosy good health, and to be the only one in her whole house, the remainder being described as simply cadaverous in appearance, be it her maids or her own brother, the perpetual cynic Musgrove. During a tennis match, Craddock remarks on Beatrice's pristine health, as she is given a cushion by Mrs. Valtudor to rest on and then falls on the ground almost dead. She is indeed on the brink of death, appearing as if she had lost a massive amount of blood, but there being no wound, despite Beatrice insisting she feels one in the back of her head. Taking her home, Craddock notices Denshire's increasing obsession with Mrs. Valtudor, whom he later witnesses wandering through the forest at midnight, wailing that she wants to save the only man she ever loved but can't but must but can't. Soon after, Denshire suffers a decrease of his strength, so that he can no longer lift 200 pounds worth of dumbbells, and that shakes him up somewhat fierce. But he refuses Craddock's hints of there being something sinister about Mrs. Valtudor, and meets her in the forest to snog at midnight. Craddock is then told by Musgrove about the new mummy in the British Museum, which dries up any grapes or fruit laid near to it, and Craddock wants to go see it. Craddock takes Denshire and Mrs. Valtudor to London to see it, but she refuses last second, having obviously sweated bullets whenever the mummy was brought up before by her brother. As they drive on, they see a tall gaunt man stare at Mrs. Valtudor with a look of utter hate. The same man is present at a lecture Craddock attends and later visits him at home, revealing that he is Dr. Stanella, who found and sold the mummy to the British Museum. He tells Craddock that Mrs. Valtudor is a vampire, using a talisman, the Black Band of Luxor, to drain life from her victims. It is a rather silly and tedious process, involving secreting the lower half of the talisman near to the victim, and then getting it back later, and putting it back together to suck up all the juicy dematerialized blood. Stanella wants Craddock to help him stop Valtudor's perpetual feastings and obtain the talisman, but he gives away his ulterior motives rather embarrassingly. At night, the near-dead, repentant Mrs. Valtudor comes to Denshire's studio in search of the talisman which she hid in a footstool. But Stanella gets it first, strangles her, and then runs off. The rest of the novel is focused on stopping Stanella, with the help of a mysterious Egyptian, Ben-Hazar. He makes reference to Stanella's terrible plans, having driven 10 men mad and made them attack the sarcophagus of the mummy he himself found, but finding it empty. There are manifestations of good and evil spirits and battles between spirit cats as well as spirit panthers, while Ben-Hazar uses his occult powers to find Stanella's hiding place in London, where he had been draining the life of a young woman. Knocking Stanella out very easily with sleeping gas, he is lured into a cave and then thrown off a cliff by Denshire, and the story is over. The main problem is the main characters sit around while the bad guy is somewhere else, waiting to be taken by Ben-Hazar to actually do stuff, and even then being told to wait, while Ben-Hazar does the most exciting stuff off screen, such as in butchering Mrs. Valtudor's vampiric remains. Stanella too is almost not in the book and is too pathetic when he is. His plans are never told to us, and despite Ben-Hazar insisting they mean peril to the entire planet, nay the entire solar system, we see him just barely succeed to drain the life of a single person. One wishes Mrs. Valtudor remained the antagonist, as she had been built up for half the book before she died.